ZIG ane stable form of currency. Kuti arume companies zabhadhara ma-tax, ma-bills ese arikubhadharwa, everything that has to do with the government or local authorities, every payment, ingave toll gate, ingave chi, it has to be paid in what? In ZIG.
One of what you'll be creating a command currency, it's really based on people having confidence in that currency. 500 US angry, but it's no currency in practical terms. Or tomorrow nayo bama 50 change a million.
Right. Zigo. Zig. Tinaro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again on yet another interesting episode. Tichitaura nyaya dzinenge dzakati tipiseyo mbijana munyika yedu yeZimbabwe, and we are joined takutomboti as usual because this is our guest ari kufeature more than once now achitaura nhau dzinongona dzakarerekera either ku politics or governance, and we have got none other than Mr. Simba.
Yes, Zigo.
Murise.
Non-drivo baba.
Beta my works.
My works are boss Derek.
A lot of people don't know, probably the first time that I met you, my launch an organization in Echebita is Pan-Africanism.
Yes. Yeah. We have an organization, the Africa Coalition of Youth Against Subversion.
Africa Coalition of Youth Against Subversion.
Yes.
And the organization you must launch it.
Yeah, we have launched. I think we're now in about 15 countries so far. We've opened chapters in 15 countries as we speak. Kutorne maboard ariko. We're growing underground like a potato.
Yeah.
So that when we just come out there, we are as big.
Like a potato and like Hamas.
Like Hamas, Baba.
You don't grow underground. So we really don't want to talk about the Africa Coalition. Of course, we talk about it at another platform about my programs. But we want to talk about subversion. That's why I brought up Africa Coalition against subversion, of youths against subversion. Chinombon subversion kuma laymen kunyanya vanhu vechidiki vanenge vari mustreet muZimbabwe vari kungoterrorism danzo wakakula down, but also kuziva kuti there are issues like subversion. Chichinonzi subversion.
Yeah, so subversion zvinongoreva an intentional manipulation of systems to derail a system that is good for the people. It might be cultural subversion, where we've got, for example, we've got imperialists. Imperialists, these are Western colonizers that came to Africa to colonize our continent. And then they drive a certain agenda that allows for them to keep on having a grip and control over Africa, including its natural resources. So what they do now is they come and then they soil the names of our leaders. That's another form of subversion, where they come and say, your leader is bad in this regard, he's bad in this regard, he's bad in this regard. That's subversion. Information manipulation, where we are being diverted from the norm, what we're supposed to be doing as Africans, as Zimbabweans, and then taking a course of someone with a hidden agenda. They're called covert operations or dark operations that are done by people that are trying to gain something, be it natural resources, change of government, what they call regime change, etc. These are basically the downliners of subversion.
And how different is it from our acts of sabotage?
Subversion is the umbrella term, which also includes sabotage. So in talk of sabotage, I'll give you quite a list of types of sabotage that we've seen here in Africa. We've got political sabotage, where they bring in an opposition party, which is funded by imperialists and neocolonialists. They come in, they cause chaos and noise to destabilize the political environment, right? That's sabotage. So there's no peace, there are no talks whatsoever. Where they create an environment where opposition and a ruling party are enemies instead of, co-working together. That's sabotage. Then we've got what is called health sabotage. I'll give you an example of health sabotage that has happened here in Africa. We've got Ebola That was health sabotage, where they manufacture a disease and then they, make it spread in Africa. There was that being, prevalent in Africa. We've got HIV and AIDS. That's another example of health sabotage. We've got COVID. That's health sabotage, where they bring in these diseases to sabotage the health system, to eliminate, to destabilize, and to give reasons for them to come in and control our resources, be it human resources, which is why you are now seeing, let's talk of economic sabotage, which comes in the form of sanctions, right? Economic sanctions that are meant to cripple the economy of any country whose government is refusing to bow down to the demands of imperialists. So when we have got such things happening, these are forms of subversion.
Okay, what about self-sabotage?
Self-sabotage. We've seen it happening with drugs. That's an example of self-sabotage. You know very well, ndikarowa mutoriro inini ndaenda. So this is happening within the community of the youths. Self-sabotage yamuri kutaura ziko yekuti munhu akona panapa handina kwandiri kuenda nelife. I would just rather, give myself to drugs, give myself to prostitution. That's self-sabotage, where you are destroying your own future by your own application. The way you're doing things, it's self-destructive. That's self-sabotage. You know very well, if I do this, I'm going down, but you still do it anyway.
That's self-sabotage.
That's self-sabotage.
Ndo vatinavo mukomasimba panapa vachimbotirova nezvinhu zviri deep. I think ndo yavanenge vachiti political science. But I'm trying to think about health sabotage, where you talk about COVID, you talk about HIV. Of course, Ebola might be an exception. It seems like those vanenge vachidrive the sabotage, assumedly to Westerners, and it.
Yes, Westerners. Yeah, definitely.
They are also victims of COVID. They are also victims of HIV. It's sabotage for usually African countries or what. Something without basis, since they are having a fair share of that cake.
So when you talk of saboteurs, Zigo, it's not like the whole country, like let's say the whole of America is for that. It's only a few individuals. Those are the saboteurs. We've got control to a lot of resources, a lot of money. There are probably less than 1% of people in the world who are capable of doing that. These are the people we're fighting about. We're talking about, rather, here. These are the people we are fighting against when we talk of anti-subversion and anti-sabotage. So you mentioned that diseases also affect their countries. But how much do they affect their countries in comparison to the effects that these diseases have on Africa? So I'll tell you this. What these guys do, they manufacture diseases. After manufacturing diseases, they make sure that they spread more in Africa. So that they come with the antidote to Africa. They come with medication, vaccination, immunization to deal with the disease, with the outbreak. At whose cost? These are people that are making money out of it. They create a disease. They also create the vaccine for the disease. That's intentional sabotage.
But you look at something like ARVs, it seems like they are funded by some other organizations, and most of us, we get them for free. And most of us, we get them for free. Someone will say, we are not still bearing the cost. It seems like they are paying themselves. Whoever now you say, Dr. Unzama donation, and someone would argue that, these guys, we are actually living at their mercy.
Not really. Remember, it's not the whole country or the whole Europe or the whole West that is doing the sabotage. It's a few individuals who own these pharmaceutical companies that manufacture the drugs. They sell them. They don't mass produce them for free. They sell. Now, these people that you're seeing that are coming, bringing in free ARVs and free vaccines for COVID and stuff like that, they're actually paying for those vaccines and then donating those vaccines, those medications. They are being paid. So the people that are sabotaging, especially when it comes to health sabotage, they are the owners of pharmaceutical companies.
And you also talk about economic sabotage.
Yes.
How does sanction fit into that whole framework?
Well, it fits in every way, Zigo. When you put restrictions on the capacity of a country to borrow money from a pool of funds, pool of capital, when you put restrictions on Zimbabwe to say you can't borrow money at the World Bank, you can't borrow money from the IMF to bring development and industrialize your country, that's sabotage. That's economic sabotage. If you say your diamonds and your gold can't be sold officially on the market, no matter how much value they've got, when you put sanctions on the minerals of a country, that's economic sabotage. When you put sanctions on a leader of a country or a certain group of people that are leading the country, that are doing the negotiations with those that supply cheap capital, when you put sanctions on those people now, it's got an implication on the economy. That's economic sabotage. When you say certain products from Zimbabwe cannot be bought in the West, that's economic sabotage. I'll give you, let's not just focus on, let's look at Russia. These folks in Europe, some of them are going behind their back to Putin, say, okay, keep on giving us your gas. But they're sitting there, they're saying, look, we are putting sanctions on Russian gas and oil. That's sabotage. So we want to come to a place, we will try and lobby as much as we can as ACAIAS, Africa Coalition of Youth Against Subversion. We'll try as much as we can to lobby, to get to a place where we say, okay, guys, the use of sanctions as a measure in dealing with any situation should never be an option on the table when dealing with matters of contention. We have to find other means and ways of dealing with them. Sanctions, they are very, very damaging. But then the good thing now is the more there's a principle called the principle of overkill. When you overdo something, someone will end up getting a solution to deal with that because they know that's your tactic. So sanctions, according to us as ACAIAS, is an equivalent of a nuclear weapon. There has to come a time where we say, as the world, this should never be an option. Let's find other means and ways of dealing with matters with which we have got a contention.
But others who really don't believe that sanctions have got much effect on the economy, they would argue that sanctions really don't matter. We've got countries like Russia, which are doing fairly well, but we're in enormous sanctions. And they say the economy failing, you should attribute it to poor governance.
I do not agree with them. I don't agree with them. Why? Because a country like Zimbabwe, it's a developing country. So when you say you don't offer loans for development for that country, it's different from Russia. Russia was developed already. They've got their natural resources, which they control 100%. They've got their capital. They've got what are called bourgeoisies. These are the rich, the elite, that can capitalize and inject a lot of capital into Russia's production. So
they're not landlocked.
They're not landlocked. They've got base. It's a place of trade. But when it comes to Zimbabwe now, Zimbabwe's economy was agro-based. Recently, it's now based on mining activities and stuff like that. But still, with those sanctions, Zimbabwe has thrived. It has started developing everywhere without funding from outside. So imagine if there was access for our country to billions of dollars that are there in the world, right, where we can get capital, invest as a country in the industrialization of our country. Where do you think would be right now? So sanctions have got an effect.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot that we could talk about here concerning our subversion, NEMA sanction. But we want also to ask about our natural resources through our mining. Yes. We are also blessed to have a lot of natural resources.
Yes.
We've got precious stones. We also have hobo zvinowanika pasi zvekuti togona kubenefita from. what could be the policy that you suggest or that you believe could is the best for my natural resources in Zimbabwe, or it's actually the one iripo? If you care to explain actually iripo for our viewers who might not even know.
There is no better thing that we can do with our natural resources than what is called a beneficiation and value addition. To have a value chain where we are extracting and then manufacturing. So I'll give you an example. Recently, there's been a motion that was set which then limits the exporting of raw lithium. And as we speak, there's a $400 million facility that's been constructed for the beneficiation or the processing of lithium. Lithium is on high demand right now because it's the one that is used to make batteries, right? For electric vehicles, for our cell phones, remotes, etc., all forms of batteries. They are putting a demand on the lithium. And Zimbabwe supplies 10% of world lithium, right? So recently there's been a motion where they're saying we will not be exporting raw lithium. Instead, let's process it here in Zimbabwe. And then if we're to export, we'll be exporting this lithium at least after having been processed. According to the research that I did, I stand to be corrected, on a 30-ton truck, exporting raw material, lithium, raw lithium, the government would only make $1,300. But then if you process the very same 30-ton truck of raw lithium, if you process it into lithium sulfate, right, the government can make $30,000 per 30-ton truck. Now, here is what we are then trying to do is Africa Coalition of Youth Against Subversion. We want to try and lobby. Why not go even to the far end of the value chain, where we then do the manufacturing of batteries here? So we want to engage on a program. We are still working on it, where we will train youths in all 10 provinces on how to manufacture a lithium-ion battery. So if we can train 2,000 youths for a start to be perfectly grounded on the ethics and high standards of manufacturing batteries locally in Zimbabwe, that will be the starting point. And then investors can come in. We do not want investors who come in to just extract. We want investors who come in to invest in the value addition. Why don't you have investors coming in to set up plants where they process the lithium? After processing the lithium, why don't we have investors that come in and build factories where we actually manufacture batteries to export the end products, since we've got all the resources that we need here?
But why do we only have investors for extraction, but we don't have investors for procession?
For procession, why not? Why are we not having investors coming in Zigu? Munyika medu kuti vanhu vari kungouya kuda kuzongomora chete.
And why can't we have also a market for these products here? And people, they come in markets here, like we have diamonds, we have gold.
Yes.
Why is it so hard for Rolex kuti ingosetwa branch kayo munomo?
Yogadzira zvinhu zvayo munomo.
Payakachererwa ndo payagadzirirwa.
Paradyira ndo parafira. Pange rigonzo kababa. Paradyira ndo parafira.
Another issue that I would want you to talk about, which I know you've been passionate about, is about the currency. And I had an interview with one guy who was having dreams, and he was given designs of a new currency that we should have in Zimbabwe. And I was wondering, would this guy, doesn't he know we already have a currency? We have a currency, we've got ZIG.
Yes.
Tell me about our currency. Tinayo here in practical terms. Zvekuti munhu paanenge achicalculate ari kumba anoti ndine 2000 ZIG. Tinongonzwa mese munoti ndine 500 US yangu iri but tinayo currency here in practical terms. Oro tingori nayo pama 50 exchange emirinda.
Right. ZIG tinaro.
Inonaiza vaonetiwo panzi zig oro US sabanoti zig ka oro kaike mai zig oro US
Zig oro US. Arikutaura inini. Yeah. So zig tinaro. So let me just try and explain in brief kuti zig racho rakainzomira sei, right? So ZIG stands for Zimbabwe gold. So currency yedu isusu, it's a mineral-based currency, right? Which is backed by gold, actual gold.
Mineral-based currency, based by actual gold.
By actual gold.
We actually usual currency aningarishi.
The United States dollar is a fiat. It's called a fiat currency. It's backed by speculation. What their government says. That's what gives it power. If the president of America says our US dollar is gaining like this, or this has happened elsewhere, that speculation is what gives power to the US dollar. It's a fiat. There is no mineral that's backing it up. It's called a fiat currency, FIAT. And then we've got what is called the commodity backed or the mineral based currency, like ZIG. Yekuti ukaenda kuRBZ izvezvi ukanovhura muvote makatozara gold racho chairo ritorimo. The value of gold ririmomo is equivalent to the value of mazig ari system, whether electronic or cash. So zvikurevei zigo, zvikureva kuti kana iwewe zigo uine, let's say 1 gram yako pagold rese riri muRBZ, haukwanisi kupiwa ka 1 gram kakonzi zigo enda unotendera uchitransact because change inoona kukunetsai, because 1 gram is probably $114 izvezvi. Andika, so imagine munhu wese aine kagram kake, how do you split it? So zviri kunzi neRBZ hatichakupei the actual gold racho iro kuti mufambe naro, but there's a certificate called the ZIG.
Akabata ZIG is a gold owner.
Akabata ZIG is a gold owner. Where is the gold? It has been collected, is there in the RBZ, in the vault. So iwo kana une ZIG rako iwo, you are guaranteed to have got a certain piece of gold. The more ZIG you have, the more grams of gold you own in that vault.
But my representation auri kutaura aya, what competitive edge inenge ine munhu ane ZIG over munhu ane US? Tikura kuti munhu ane ZIG ane gold ningi obva toti saka ndine better position kudarika munhu ane US.
Alright. Ane ZIG ane stable form of currency.
So I want you manje to explain that handit. Mukuti ane ZIG ane stable currency.
Yes.
Kudarika chi?
Ane fiat.
Ane fiat. Yes. What do you mean?
Right. Remember, gold rinotobatika. It can be traded. Sati kuti beba rere kana kuti mari yakanzi ZIG inenge iri muaccount mako paunoita transaction, ritori gold pachezvaro. It's nothing else but gold. Remember, gold has always been in existence. It has always been a legal tender for as long as I remember. Nguva dzara Solomon, barter trade, right? Saka naone ZIG chiri kunzi wewe haukwanisi kupiwa ZIG because hatikwanisi kurisheyanisa takupanana change, right? Saka uri kupiwa bepa riri kumirira gold rawinaro. It's called legal tender. Kana iwe uine 1 kg yegold, it means kuti ZIG rawakabata iroro riri kumirira 1 kg yegold rawinaro. So it has to be an equivalent. So the rate is probably 0.0003 ZIG per gram.
Now a lot of people would not understand. Kunenge kunze, what is the difference between equivalence and stability as far as my currency are concerned? Both munhu zvanenge achiita ka munhu anogona kusatarisa stability, anogona kutarisa kuti dollar izvezvi riri equivalent to chi to 20 ZIG. Saka ubva ati asika ZIG harina maturo.
Aiwa. ZIG andika value yegold pairi kuchinja. Kana value yegold ikakwira,
value yezig iri kukwira.
Value yezig iri kukwirawo. Because ZIG is acceptable. I mean, the gold is acceptable everywhere, which means that's where the stability comes from. But on top of an exchange rate, remember we've got a fiat currency, which is based on how much oil they've looted from another country, or how much,
or how many presidents they've abducted,
right? All these have got an effect on the. It's based on speculation, where people are saying, okay, Sakapa.
Are they still a superpower or not?
Or not? Because it's not based on any mineral, anything tangible. Maybe production, which is why they are fighting to bring production to happen in America instead of happening in China. My iPhone, my China. 90% of stuff that is found in America, in the UK, is not about China. So they want to move their factories from there. That's their foreign policy. That's their domestic policy. That's what they want. Why?
So what impact do you think that the ZIG will have in Zimbabwe in a foreseeable future?
I think it's going to be a very dominant currency because it's gaining momentum. But as long as the government is able to build the reserves of gold locally and also outside. So did you know that a country can actually build a reserve of gold in another country? It's quite possible. To say, okay, we've got 400 tons of gold in Switzerland.
How do you do that?
As Zimbabwe.
How do you do
You've got votes there. You are there, you're buying gold there. Right? The government is buying gold in Switzerland, it's buying gold in Dubai, it's buying gold everywhere. In Indonesia, they are not transporting it coming. They're keeping it there in vaults that are there. Is it not Zimbabwean gold?
It is.
It is, because we own it. So as long as Zimbabwe is able to build up the stockpile of gold, the greater the value, the more stable our ZIG becomes.
My last question would be, zvine precedence. Kuti hazvakamboitika kwakati. Pane nyika here yakamboimplementa that type of system or tisu tikutaka?
The way it's being done here, it has never been done the way it's done here. This time it has been done intelligently, right? Though there are certain areas that I might probably want to touch on how to then preserve that and make the ZIG better, according to my opinion.
Are you at liberty too?
Yes. So, yeah, I think if someone goes on ChatGPT, they can just research and see that this has been done in certain countries, right? Especially those that are in mining, right? So, what I think for the ZIG to have as much power and to be dominant and to become as stable as we desire, where we then do away with the US dollar once and for all, there are certain things that I think should be done. Number one, they should split the RBZ.
Split the RBZ?
Yes, split it.
Hapana kuitsemura ngeMoses.
Kunge Moses arutsemura gungwa. RBZ inofana kutsemurwa so into two.
What do you mean?
We should have I'll call it the Zimbabwe Monetary and Banking Authority. This one will regulate how banks function, monetary practices, but they do not issue currencies, right? And then on the other end, so this is just institutional reform that I'm suggesting. On the other side, they should have what is called the Zimbabwe Currency Authority. The purpose of the Zimbabwe Currency Authority would be to issue currencies, right?
To enforce our compliance.
The other part enforces compliance. It does what the general RBZ has to do. But the Zimbabwe Currency Authority, its mandate is just to issue ZIG US issuance. What do I mean by this? Takwana machange maana akawandisa. Akauraya nyika. Let's be honest. Machange maanika ndo vanhu vakauraya nyika inoi. Ndo saka makona mwakasungwa kaiswa mukati. because these are people that are trading money illegally, right? Vachiuraya currency yedu munomu. And a change man is a person who makes money out of non-productive activities. If you show us kuti change man achicha producer, but there's nothing. One advantage vanenge my big guys vanoyashiva pa cash vokwidza rate. But why is the rate going up? Why is it going down? Who are you to determine whether the rate is supposed to go up or down? What have you produced? Nothing. Saka change money. They make money out of non-productive activities. Then that very same money they've made is now chasing after a few goods because there's no production at all. So Zimbabwe Currency Authority, what they should do now, vanofana kuti ZIG recupinam system, it has to be in direct exchange of a certain amount of US dollar, right? Number one. Number two, they should make sure that there's a system in place that monitors transaction ekuti iwo zigo kwa ene US dollar kwandiri nimchange money. Either I'm not able to send you a ZIG equivalent. Kanda kukutumira iwo system haizo allow. Ndikada kukutumira mari iwewe inofana kuconverter into US again. So that hapana arikwanisa kutumira munhu ZIG. Right? Then we develop the system from there. Iwewe kana da kuchinja ZIG rako iwewe. Richinje mfoni mako. Through the Zimbabwe Currency Authority. The system has kuti ndikati ndida kuconverta $10 yangu into ZIG. Ndinosita pa phone pangu. Mari yangu ichingopinda ku Zimbabwe Currency Authority. Inobvia issue a ZIG into my phone. That's how the Zimbabwe Currency Authority should function. Right? But for this to work now, the government has to make a declaration kuti every payment irikuenda anga kubhadhara bill reku city council, kuhurumende, tax and all these things should be paid in ZIG. That's how you create a demand for ZIG. Kuti varume companies zabhadhara tax, bills esari kubhadharwa, everything that has to do with the government or local authorities, every payment ingave toll gate ingave chi, it has to be paid in what? In ZIG.
One of what you'll be creating a command currency, it's really based on people having confidence in that currency.
Ayoga, this is how we build, because we are trying to build our currency. We have to have certain motions set for compliance. We can't, because the moment we are loose about it, it will never grow. The ZIG will always go down like every other currency that has come before the ZIG. This is the best shot we've got. Saka ZIG, it's mandatory for my payments ese. In ZIG, that way you are creating demand for ZIG, right? But now we've got another issue. Rebecca say ZIG. Tinema foreign currency reserves. I would advocate for the government could it dissolve at least 90% of foreign currency reserves into gold. Could it must US dollar reserves, rands, whatever foreign currency reserves they have, they must convert that into pure gold, gold bars, because that's our currency. We cannot bake our currency using another currency. It will collapse. If the Americans are we don't want our US dollar to be used in Zimbabwe, that's the end of it. So every US dollar should go and buy gold, either locally or outside the country. The government someone has to set that motion. So we build on our reserves, gold reserves, because our currency is gold backed. That's what it is. That's what the government says. That's what the RBZ says. So we must have tangible gold instead of having foreign currency reserves that are 100%. Let's cut it way down to just 10% foreign currency for payments, but the rest should be converted into gold.
And as we close, what impact does it have on the life of a common person? Because after all has been done, the government, police, whether mahombe say, after translate impact yazvinayo muupenyu hwaZIGO muupenyu hwatonde, muupenyu hwamarenziya or whoever it is, what impact does it have on the common person?
Okay, when we've got our own currency that is functional, we are able to trade using our own money, right? We call the shots. We should be able to go and buy diesel using ZIG. Kutenga Iran, kana ku Russia, kana kupi. Tufana gona transactor globally using our ZIG. It gives us an advantage if things become less expensive because we can do whatever we want with our ZIG. If there's need for injection of more ZIG into the system, we can do it. We've got control for our currency. When we've got control for our currency, it means the ordinary citizen also has got control of the currency that is in his pocket. We don't have control over the US dollar because it's not our money. It's the Americans' money. Those are Russia or go. US dollars. The same is happening with China. So when we've got our own money, we can control our own prices. We can control our own currency. We control our own production. We control our own imports. We control our own exports that are being paid or transacted in our own currency. Kana personal currency edu. This is why in the Second Republic, they've come up with this intelligent plan to have the ZIG in place.
Mr. Simba, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, ZIG.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mr. Simba panapa vachimbotiudza about subversion kana mamusingazoti nyika zinotorowo sabotage hazvisi zvekubhora chete. And also tichitaura about our policy concerning minerals vachiexplain kuti tinofamba sei, and then the issue of the ZIG. So vamwe tamusingatozive kuti ZIG zvinombonyazorevei, taingora zvinoti ZIG or US. Vanhu vazhinji vanenge vachingoti USA, but they will be choosing from a position of ignorance. They don't know. Saka vanhu vangu vaparara ndo maZimbabweans vanhu zaparara. And with that we are out.